guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be reviewing the HobbyPlus CR18P Evo Trail Hunter. This is a 1/18 scale trail crawler from HobbyPlus and it has a couple of little features up its sleeve. So I'm going to show you what comes in the box, what it needs to run and everything, and then we're going to come out and take it on the crawler track and see how it performs. So this crawler is 99% ready to run, comes with battery, charger, controller and obviously the car. All you need to drive it is 4 AAA batteries for the controller. So this is the battery here. It's a 2S 600 milliamp LiPo battery. Here's the charger you get. Pretty basic, but it does the job. Here's the controller you get. This switch here is for your 2-speed transmission. And then you've got all your little dials up the top for steering trim, throttle trim and other stuff. Here you've got your instruction manual, so just tells you basically how it can kill you. You also get a couple of basic tools here, like a wheel wrench for taking your wheel nuts off and stuff, and then a little screwdriver for taking it apart. And then finally you got the car itself here. Alright, so features on the car. As I mentioned earlier, it has portal axles and a 2-speed transmission. It's got full metal gears, the transmission has metal gears, the portals have metal gears, and the diffs have metal gears. It also has lights up the front here and around the back, which I'll show you working in a minute. Another cool thing is that it comes with a working spare tyre on the back. So this is an actual tyre, so if you did somehow split one of these tyres, you could just swap them over. The battery goes in this little box here. It's a little bit small, but it does the job. The on-off switch is just here. One other feature that would have been nice is if they had oil-filled shocks in here. These ones are coil spring ones with no oil, so as you can see, pretty bouncy. I know the brushless version of this car comes with oil-filled shocks, but it would have been nice to have it on this one as well, as they really do help the performance of these cars. So now I might as well just turn it on and I'll show you guys how it works. So for turning it on, the battery goes in this little tray here, which just sort of pops up like this. And then you plug this wire here into there, and then slot the battery in, and then you've got to fold the wires over the top. This one here I've found best if you tuck it down the side, and then the other one has to sit on top. It's a little bit of a squash, but it is doable. It would have been nice to have a bigger box though. Here you go, so this is sort of how I tuck it in like that. And then you've got these 2 little knobs at the back, which just slot in there, and then you just fiddle around and try and get it closed. So to turn it on, you just have to put the batteries into your controller, which you just push down here and then slide across. And then you just slot your batteries in like this. So to turn it on, it's pretty complicated. You just have to flick the switch here, and then the switch here, just go that way, and then it will connect. Well, it should connect. Right, excuse me for that, we just had a couple of little problems. The controller wouldn't connect to the car, and it was connecting and then it was like jumping around and disconnecting and stuff. It's a little bit hard to work out, but because it's not a very good instruction manual and it doesn't really tell you a huge amount in a very helpful way. But basically, this light here, if that light, it says G LED, if that light is flashing slowly, that basically means that the batteries on this are flat and it's probably going to be disconnecting and connecting, which maybe I left it on or something. But for some reason it wasn't, this thing was flat, but I've put fresh batteries in and now it's connecting properly. So just remember that. It's got 3 modes for the transmission, or gears, or whatever you want to call it. First gear, second gear and neutral. So first gear will be the slow gear, neutral will be neutral, no gear, and second gear will be high-speed gear, I suppose you could say. So from the factory, I'm pretty sure it comes in first gear like this. Yep, that's slow gear. So that's full speed and slow gear. And then to change it, you've got this little switch here, the channel 3. So in the middle, that's neutral. And then all the way towards my thumb here is second gear. Then for the lights, it's pretty easy, just this little button here. So push it once and they'll come on, push it again and they'll turn on a little bit brighter, and then push it 3 times again and it'll turn off. So there's 5 button presses, I'm pretty sure. So I think that's if you want to add indicators and stuff. I know the other model, the Rock Van, has got indicators and brake lights and stuff. I don't know if the Harvest has, but anyway, yeah. Charging, it's pretty easy. All you do is you just get the charger, plug it in. Surprise, surprise. So that red light flashes when it's not plugged in. and then you just have to get the battery, and this is the plug that you plug into the car, and then this one down here is the one that you plug into the charger. So you just plug that in, and then the red light will be solid when it's charging, and the red light will turn off when it's charged. Here's a couple of photos of the box, just in case any of you guys are interested in the details on the sides. One other little annoying thing about this crawler is that it doesn't actually have like hex driver screws. It's got Phillips head screws, so I can't use my like standard hex drivers. I have to use Phillips headed screwdrivers, which is pretty annoying because most RC cars use hex drivers. So yeah, it's just annoying because now I've got to go out and buy some proper Phillips head things, because I'm not going to do all my working with this because it's going to be a pain in the neck. So we've covered off pretty much all of the on the bench stuff about this crawler, so I think we might as well take him out on the trails and see how he does. So what do I think of it overall? Overall, I think it's a great truck. Great value for money. I was a little bit disappointed at the performance. I thought it would perform a bit better. But I think most of that was due to the fact that it's not got oil-filled shocks. So I think I'm probably going to be upgrading those in the next couple of days. It would have been nicer if there was a little bit more speed in first gear and a little bit more torque in second. But I suppose most people say that about most two-speed crawlers. But in first gear, although it had plenty of torque, I often found myself switching into second because it just didn't quite have enough speed in first. Although it had the torque, it didn't have the speed. Another problem I had was, I don't even know what it's called, but when I was driving over bumps, it would go over the bump, stop, it would end over the bump, and then there would be a slight delay, like a slack in the gears, and the motor would turn and then it would come into action. So I'm not really sure why that does that, but I think I was watching one of Cape Crawler's videos, and he said for the latest edition of these trucks that they've fixed it a bit by putting like bigger pins in the axles or something like that. But this one does suffer a little bit, so yeah, that's a little bit annoying, but not a major one. You could probably just put bigger pins in and then it'll be done. I did find the crawler was a little bit tippy, but I think most of that is just due to the portal axles and not having oil-filled shocks. Anyway, overall thoughts, great crawler, great value for money, a couple of little tweaks, I think, bigger battery box, and definitely oil-filled shocks out of the box. It'll cost more, but it'll just be so much better and saves you after upgrading them. Anyway, hope this video was useful. If it was, drop us a like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, because we'll definitely be doing an upgrade video on this truck soonish, or as soon as I can get my hands on oil-filled shocks. Thank you very much for watching, and yeah, we'll see you in the next video.